This episode brought to you once again by Real Movie Talk. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Screen Test Podcast. I am Chaz, and with me, as always, is my co-host with the mo-host, Aaron Milton. But, just like last week, we have Aaron and Chaz from the past. Last week, we re-released episode 1 of our Get in the Cage, all the way back from 2018. Well, today, we are re-releasing episode 2 of Get in the Cage, lovingly named The Cagening, which comes all the way back from June of 2019. So again, bear with us as we are fairly new still at this point to podcasting, but I think this is an A+ episode. One edit, we are now Screen Test Pod on all social media. You will hear one of us, probably me, address it as Real Movie Talk Pod on Facebook. We are Screen Test Pod now. 2, we love you, Nic Cage, and we hate that someone recorded you singing Purple Rain. We will refer to that. We did not know how you felt about it at the time. We hope you can karaoke in peace these days. And 3, if you know Nic Cage, send this to him. Get him involved in this podcast. We love him so much. But without further ado, here is episode 2 of Inside the Cage, The Cagening, The Life and Times of Nicolas Cage. We're climbing some stairs, but this weird chain link fence door is going to slam behind you, and you're in the cage.
No way.
We are going back to the cage.
Wow, we got more Nicolas Cage
more
stuff.
Nic Cage. So
You filled an entire episode with Nicolas Cage trivia, and you found more?
well, there were so many unanswered questions.
There were
when we did the episode.
pretty much every question you asked left about 15 other unanswered questions. So yes.
So I've done some digging, and we have some answers to some of those questions. So we don't have a game. I just have 2 pages of random facts.
We're just going to go over random Nicolas Cage facts?
I'll just give you some facts, and we'll talk about it.
Wow, this is great.
Yeah, so for those of you who are not familiar, we did an episode, I think it was called Inside the Cage,
I think so.
all about Nicolas Cage.
I hope you saved that audio. Did you save the audio of your Welcome to the Cage or Cage match?
I'll go steal it from us.
It was so good.
It's online. But I will place it here. Cage match. And there you have it. We're in the cage.
It's
now.
awesome. That was awesome.
I think it's just cage match.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
sure. And
sure.
you just hear the chain link fence. It sounded like an explosion. It was
Yeah.
great.
We're just summarizing
we're talking about the thing we haven't heard in a long time, and they've just heard it. This is a great medium, I tell you.
Podcasting. It's
Yes.
so good. Again, for those of you who are not in the loop, who've not heard the first episode, let's get you up to speed real quick.
What's some great things we learned about Nic Cage last time?
Well, just the basics. Nicholas Kim Coppola, not Kimberly, but Kim Coppola, was born in California in 1964. Aaron, that makes him 55.
That's a lot younger than I expected.
Yes.
I'm not even kidding. I thought he was like mid-60s.
He's not even 10 years older than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Because he looks older, right?
Yeah.
He just
Especially
looks, yeah.
when he's not in a movie role and you just see a candid picture of Nic Cage.
Yeah. He
You're
looks like life has gotten to him, you know?
Who is this wizard from
Yeah,
1842?
he's looking rough.
He is the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola, famous for like Godfather. Maybe you've heard of it.
Which blew my mind the last time you said
Yeah.
this. Still kind of does, honestly.
Right.
It's still a weird connection.
He named himself Cage after what he claimed on, I believe, David Letterman or maybe Jay Leno, one of those guys, their shows. He said he named himself after the first African-American superhero. So that was a controversy because Luke Cage was not the first African-American superhero. So there's that.
I love that he built this on just something that was completely false. But he probably said it with such confidence that people are like, that's not true. And he's like, oh.
So who cares?
Whoops.
He has been married 4 times, which is one more time than the last time we talked about Nicolas Cage.
Yep, that's right.
He was married to Patricia Arquette, which we have some more information as into their marriage.
Can't wait.
Lisa Marie Presley. I almost said Osborne. I don't know why. Alice Kim. Don't know who she is. And Erica, I'm going to butcher this last name, Kyoki?
Probably. That's how I would have pronounced it.
Yeah.
But that one was a very short-lived one.
That marriage lasted 4 days, Aaron.
A whole 4 days.
4 days.
Honestly, I saw true love for them. This is very shocking to me that his marriage lasted only 4 days.
Yeah. He was most recently, so he was in Into the Spider-Verse in 2018. But his most recent claim to fame is a video from TMZ leaked from a karaoke bar of him reacting to his breakup from his 4-day wife.
It is such a good video. He is so angry.
He's just angry, scream singing Purple Rain by Prince.
You just got to picture, you can obviously pull this up, but you just got to picture Nic Cage right after his divorce, his 4-day divorce, his 4-day marriage, and then his divorce. So there he is, just alone in a karaoke bar, just screaming into a microphone, Purple Rain.
Purple Rain! Basically how it is.
He looks like a lunatic, as you might assume. It's a great video. It's very short, but it gives you the image you need to know.
Purple Rain! Purple Rain!
Woo!
That makes me so sad.
It is kind of depressing, but it's also perfectly Nic Cage.
It is Nic Cage. But one of the things we talked about on our first episode of Nicolas Cage is that he was married to Patricia Arquette.
Yeah.
But she didn't immediately say yes. I think I talked about the fact that he proposed to her the first time he ever met her, and she gave him a list of things that he would have to bring her in order for them to be married.
I still don't fully believe this story. Like, this still sounds like pure nonsense.
Right?
I can't picture.
Nicolas Cage's life is pure nonsense.
It is. So maybe this is completely just factual. We talked about at least one of those items that was part of the quiz, which I'm sure you'll talk about in a second. I just can't imagine somebody just having a list of things that they require before they're going to say yes.
Yeah, maybe
it just seems weird.
They should have been the perfect match.
They probably
They should have lasted longer.
We're talking about, this is National Treasure guy. He loves searching for clues.
Right? This is before that, but maybe that led him to National Treasure.
Yeah.
So, I got a little bit of a backstory into their first meeting before I get into the list, because you were really interested in that list.
Oh, yes.
But they ran into each other at a deli, and he proposed. He was 23. She was 18.
Oh.
So
that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, just putting that out there. Apparently, so we'll backtrack and talk about the list, but apparently at their wedding, Patricia Arquette was very bubbly and giggly and just having a blast. And this is a quote, according to Patricia Arquette, he was uncomfortably silent.
My goodness.
So what are the chances it would have worked out? You know,
I just want to know what it's like to live one day married to that guy. I feel like it would just be insane.
I want to spend a day with him. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I want us to spend a day with Nic Cage.
I also have to wonder, okay, so in this most recent marriage where it lasted 4 days, what did you not already know about him? Like, what happens in those 4 days?
Right?
I can't do this. How did you not know that beforehand?
Do you not have Google?
Like,
I mean, come on.
Yeah, a quick Google search tells you you probably don't want to marry this guy, but whatever.
She should have listened to our podcast. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we had a lot
Erica,
of information on this.
We could have helped you out.
Weird things happen around this guy.
Yeah. He has a room with 2 cobras in it that he goes in and sits in to calm down.
That's
red flag.
A crazy person.
But anyways, she did not agree to, Patricia Arquette did not agree to marry Nic Cage immediately. She said she would marry him if he brought her the items off of this list. She gave him a list that included, we are not told if this is the full list or if there's more items that they have just forgotten about since. But this is the one we talked about on our episode. An autograph from J.D. Salinger,
which is impossible to get.
Yep.
He is a recluse. Nobody really knows where he is.
Yep.
So he doesn't give out his signature.
Right.
So that's why that's a crazy request.
A black orchid, which I guess doesn't exist or is very rare. I don't know. A wedding dress from the Lisu tribe in Southeast Asia. That's a random thing to come up.
That's why I'm thinking this list is
head.
bogus. I just feel like this is something they made up for the wedding.
Yeah. And a fiberglass big boy hamburger statue.
That I feel like you could maybe come across.
That's the one thing he couldn't get.
No way.
Of this entire list. That's the one thing he didn't
Doesn't
get.
this man have a pyramid in his backyard?
Yeah.
Okay, and he couldn't get one of those? I've seen I've seen the show what is it, Pickers?
American Pickers?
American Pickers. So it's on History Channel, it's guys, antique guys. They go antique picking. I feel like I've seen 15 of those things on that show. But I've never seen a black orchid.
So this is how he did it. So he got a letter that J.D. Salinger wrote and signed, and he considered that an autograph. He paid $2,500 for that. So she counted that as an autograph because he wrote it and did sign it. So he got that. He bought a purple orchid and spray painted it black. And
Okay.
So he's creative and got that. And then I guess he just went to the Lisu tribe in Southeast Asia and got that.
This is insanity.
Yep.
Okay, so he did kind of cheat a little bit here.
Yeah. They were off and on for a long time, and then they kind of stopped talking. And then, as luck would have it, or this universe that is Nic Cage would have it, they ran into each other at that same deli a couple years later, and she proposed to him.
Wow.
And he said yes, and they got married with her laughing and giggling and him just staring silently.
What the heck?
Oh, man.
And he was 23 years old.
Well, by that time, he was probably 25-ish.
Oh,
She was
okay.
probably 20-ish.
So he matured big time in that. So that's
yeah.
good.
That's the thing to take away from this.
Yep.
We also talked about Nic Cage's insane spending habits.
Yeah, they're like historically
Yes.
bad spending habits.
I've got a list of things.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know all the things Nic Cage has purchased because I'm sure it just gets more and more insane as you go down this list.
All right. So, first thing on the list, Nic Cage owned a 1971, I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to butcher a lot of these words. Just buckle up.
Yes.
If you are a grammar Nazi, just listen
chill
to
out.
our next episode.
Just chill, okay? This is fun.
Yeah. 1971 Lamborghini Miura, I don't know, SVJ, which before it belonged to Nic Cage, just happened to belong to the Prince of Iran.
Okay.
And Nic Cage paid $500,000 for it.
Okay, $500,000 on a vehicle.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Buckle up.
Yeah, because if you think $500,000 is anything.
He owned a $30 million Gulfstream jet.
Well,
That's a lot of money for one jet. I feel.
that is a lot of money for one jet.
Comparing it to the other things on this list, wow.
I'm gonna guess though a lot of celebrities have personal jets.
There's two types of people. If I've learned anything, it's that there are two types of people who own jets.
Who are politicians?
Not even.
Oh wow.
Ridiculously overpaid celebrities
Uh-huh.
and televangelists.
Televangelists, man, they love their private jets.
Yeah, just give me a couple million. God will cure your cancer, and I'll buy a jet.
Because I'm gonna guess though this $30 million, that's probably what he made on a National Treasure.
I don't know.
You don't think
He's
so?
probably made more than that on National
Well, that's what I'm
Treasure.
saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying when you put it into perspective, like
That's
that's
he made what? He made at least two of those.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's probably a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
So for us, normies out here,
$30 million.
I'm not gonna make $30 million my entire life.
Same.
So, but
Together, though, we might.
we might get there. But there he is. You know what? He's somewhere up in the clouds right now, just laughing his way, flying in his private jet.
It's just because he lives on a cloud.
He lives on a cloud. That's probably
That's
also
his new
another thing
home.
here.
He probably owns clouds. Can I buy that? Let's see. He had a $9 million house in San Francisco, because why wouldn't you? A $4 million island, which in the grand scheme of things sounds like a steal.
When you consider he's got a $9 million house in San Francisco and a $4 million island.
Yeah.
An island.
He flies his $30 million jet to his $4 million island.
I bet this is a sad island, though.
I've seen pictures. It's not great.
Why buy it then?
It's-
But
there's
that's
like-
Nic Cage. I'm answering
Why
my own
not?
question.
It exists.
Anytime you're going to ask yourself why in this, the answer is because Nic Cage. So
Yeah, so it has like 4 buildings on it, a couple trees, and then a lot of sand and a runway for an airplane. Very small runway.
Oh, okay. So he can fly in there.
Yeah. Unless it was just he poured a batch of concrete for some reason because, again, Nic Cage.
Does the house even look nice on it?
No.
Oh.
There wasn't really a house on the picture I saw. It was just a couple buildings. Who knows what he does there?
Yeah.
It's Nic Cage.
We'll never know.
A $1.3 million house. It was the Tillum Barn home, which he never visited because he thought it was built on a supernatural fault line.
So he bought it.
Sight unseen, and then never visited
And
it.
then never went to it because it's haunted.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, moving along.
I would love to be that rich.
Right?
I would love to be so rich that I'm like, that's awesome. I'll buy it, but I'm never going there. You can't make me.
Out of all the places, we're going to get to a place in New Orleans that he did visit, but he wouldn't go to this place.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And how did he get that information? Did he know that information beforehand or after? Did he purchase this and was like, whoa, supernatural fault line? He's like, ah, dang it. Now I'm stuck with this haunted house.
Who comes up with that even?
I don't know. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Me
I didn't know
either.
we had fault lines of ghosts.
Me,
Now I'm concerned.
right?
Are we on one now?
Oh, man. In America, pretty much everything's probably built on a supernatural fault line.
You gotta imagine. We've got a lot of fault lines of
Oh,
ghosts.
man.
This is great.
Yeah. The Milford Castle for $5 million. A fleet of 4 yachts, with the most expensive yacht coming in at $20 million.
I always wonder why you would have multiple yachts.
Right?
Like, just buy a super yacht.
Yeah.
What's the point of just buying 4 of them?
$20 million. It had a jacuzzi. It probably was a super yacht.
I mean, maybe it'd be fun if, like, you just got enough people on all 4 yachts and you guys are just, like, just cruising around the
racing.
Caribbean in 4 boats. I guess that'd be fun.
Put a zip line between them so you
Yeah,
can visit
you know,
every boat.
That sounds like fun.
Why waste your money? Why not, instead of don't buy any yachts, just buy a cruise ship. Have a Nicolas Cage branded cruise. I would go on it every year.
I love the why waste the money to the guy that bought a house he never visited. There seems to be a theme here. That's just what he does.
That makes sense.
It's his brand. His brand
That's
is
true.
wasting money.
That's true.
And
Let's see.
marriages.
And marriages.
That's what he likes to waste both,
and
both of
annulments
those
or
things.
divorces. Just waste a marriage. He bought Spanish Heights Drive in Las Vegas at a price tag of $8.5 million, which is apparently this huge luxury house in Las Vegas, which he no longer owns.
Does he have one that's like his home?
That cloud.
Like I just want to know, like, when Nic Cage says I'm going home, which one is his home?
It used to be the one in Orange County that was on the water, had a yacht dock, but he had to sell it, and we'll get to why he had to sell that. I don't know if you remember this or not.
I do, but I just
but I don't know where he lives now.
that's what I just he's got so many places. What's your home, Nick? You're making me scared.
Yeah, when you file taxes, what do you put down?
I'm worried
What
about
does your
you, man.
driver's license say? Probably like a doomsday prepper bunker.
Probably.
I mean, why not? You know,
I would love it if ultimately he just lived in like a small shack somewhere. You know, he
Single
just had all
wide.
these properties he doesn't visit or live in. He just has a small shack.
yeah, man, that's not outside of possibility.
It isn't. That's
Just out
the
in
thing.
the woods. Yeah,
Almost anything is a possibility here.
yeah. So the one he did visit was the LaLaurie Mansion in New Orleans that he bought for $3.5 million.
And I thought that was his residence. I thought the one in New Orleans was his.
Well,
main
that's the
residence.
one that he wouldn't go back to. He visited, but wouldn't go back to because he doesn't own that anymore. That is considered the most haunted place in North America. I believe.
So he found that out after? Is that why he didn't go
No,
back?
he bought that because it was the most haunted place in at least the United States.
And so then he sold that one.
I guess. I don't know. He may have sold that one because he came into severe financial trouble.
Right, yes. If you can't tell where this story ends, it ends with a guy not having a lot of money anymore.
Yeah. While in New Orleans, why not just buy another house? So he bought a home on Priantia Street. Probably didn't pronounce that right, but another $3.5 million. You know, why not? A Ferrari Enzo for $3 million. A collection of Rolls-Royce vehicles for around $2 million. A comic book collection valued at $1.6 million. A dinosaur skull collection. So he knew about the one.
Yes.
He had multiple.
I need more.
Yeah, and the estimated price tag for that was around $1 million. A collection of classic cars with no known price tag. He just doesn't even know anymore. And exotic animals for his own zoo with no known price tag. And a sunglasses collection with no known price tag.
Do you think, when you're Nic Cage, do you think like you forget you own things?
Probably, I'm
Like,
sure.
do you think there's ever a time like he's sitting there and it dawns on him that like, oh, I have a house up in Connecticut,
he had that one in Rhode Island.
I forgot about that.
Stupid expensive that
You
we
know?
talked about. Yeah.
or like, do you ever think like he forgets that he has 4 yachts and then one day he rolls up to his house, I got a yacht back here. I forgot about this.
Probably. I mean,
He's got to do that, right?
I don't know about now. I haven't seen. Well,
Because he might be
probably
down to a
now.
couple houses.
Yeah, but at some point, I feel like there's been points in his life where he's been sober and looked around and thought, when did I buy all
Yeah,
this?
it's like, yeah, he walked to his zoo in the back. And he's
Yeah.
like, when did I buy all these exotic animals?
Right? Whose house am I at?
Also, very surprising to me. I don't know why, but dinosaur skulls, I just feel like one of them would be over $1 million. It's weird to me that it's a collection because
I don't know how big the collection
there's
is.
not a lot of dinosaur skulls out there. That's a pretty rare thing to have. So I would just assume they'd cost a lot more than a collection that's $1 million.
I would say he didn't have very many. Maybe since there are so
Still.
few, a collection, because the one that he had to return was over $200,000.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe he had 3.
No, but that's why I sit there and just, if you were asking me before this, how much do you think like a dinosaur skull would cost?
Yeah.
I would say, probably a lot of money.
Yeah,
You can't really go buy one of those.
This list really blew my mind. Like the
Did it?
one
What blew your mind, Chaz?
why certain things cost so much and certain other things don't.
Like his comic book collection costs more than a dinosaur skull. That seems
Right.
backwards to me.
Exactly, and his car, his Ferrari Enzo, cost more than a couple of his houses.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's you know what it is? It's the ultra rich. We just don't get that.
That's true.
Like it just doesn't make
We'll
sense.
never
to
be
us
on that level
because
to understand.
we've never gotten to this point in our lives yet. We will eventually.
If you take just one jet and one boat from this list, you're at $50 million.
That's just bonkers.
I don't understand. And you don't even have a house. You just
Yes.
have a boat and a jet.
Man, I just want to know his decision making. I want to know what it looks like in his head when he's trying to figure out if he's going to purchase something or not. So what does he own right now? What do you have the data on what he sold?
Oh, he sold pretty much everything.
Yeah,
don't
because I know he got into like a lot of money issues.
Yes. So 2007 was peak Nic Cage.
Yeah.
That's when he owned everything. And then around 2012, I believe, this is all stuff I didn't pull today because we did it on our other episode, but is when the downfall happened. And he blamed his investment person, which at some point, I mean, you have to take responsibility for your own actions. But at the same time, this dude's been paid to say, hey, stop buying crap.
Yeah. And well, you also got to consider, so this might make sense, and this is outside of the movies. If you're saying peak Cage is 2007, 2008 is the big financial downturn.
That's true.
So 2008 was when everybody was getting crushed. So it's probably a bad time to own a ton of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you had money and anything else, you were probably just bleeding that.
It looks like he's on the comeback.
Good job, Nick.
He's currently worth, in assets and cash, $25 million.
Which isn't even the price of his jet.
Right. At his peak, he was worth $150 million. And he blew through that in a year.
Yikes.
That shouldn't be possible.
No, it shouldn't be. Like but I mean, he made it possible.
Yeah.
He
I mean,
believed
he's Nic Cage.
Yeah, he believed that he could do it, and he did it.
If you believe in yourself the way Nic Cage believes in his
Just
self,
buy 15 houses.
you can do anything.
Buy 4 yachts. Maybe
He
that's
did.
what he was trying to do all along.
Exactly 4 years.
Maybe he was sitting there and he was like, you know what? I think I could beat some kind of a record. And
Yeah.
that's what he was doing.
So when we have new hires where we work, one of the questions that sometimes gets asked just in an icebreaker setting is, if you were given $1 million, but the rule is you have to spend it all, not invest, not save, but spend it all in a year or you lose it, what do you do? Man, I hope somebody walks in someday with a Nic Cage attitude. It's like, $1 million? Let's make it 150
Yeah.
and grab your note
Yeah.
and a pen.
Get ready, guys, because we're going on a journey.
What's the most haunted place in America? Let's just start right there.
Let's start with any ghost fault lines, because that's where I'm starting.
I'm not going, but
not gonna
I'll
go.
own it.
I'm going to own it.
Man. So we've talked about his acting prowess a couple times. You know Robert Ebert, or Roger Ebert.
Roger, yeah.
A lot of people know who he is, at least have heard the name. He's a huge movie critic. He's passed away now, but he was a huge movie critic and shaped the careers of many people, because a lot of people cared what he had to say. So, would you like to hear what Roger Ebert has to say about Nic Cage?
Absolutely.
Roger Ebert said that Nic Cage is one of the best actors of all time.
Okay. When was this said?
Before he died.
Well, obviously. Thank you, Chaz. You mean he didn't say this from the grave? Did he come through one of those ghost fault lines? To say?
Nic Cage was holding him against his will in an ecto suit or an ecto thing from Ghostbusters. He caught him on the ghost highway that happened to go through Nic Cage's house.
And he just let him know.
Yeah.
You're the best. So here's the question, because time does make a difference here.
Right.
What movies existed with Nic Cage in there? And I mean, we've talked about this. Nic Cage is so confounding. He can be so amazing sometimes and so awful in the very next movie. So when was... Do you know this quote?
What I see... Let's see.
I still can't think of any time in my life where I would say Nic Cage is one of the greatest actors of all time. Has he won any awards?
He won an Academy Award for Best Actor.
He did?
Yeah.
For what movie?
We talked about that. Leaving Las Vegas, I believe.
Yeah. No, I remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all coming back to me. Slowly but surely, it's coming back to me.
All right. There are often lists of great... Okay, so this is what he had to say, Roger Ebert, on Nic Cage. There are often lists of great living male movie stars, De Niro, Nicholson, and Pacino. However, how often do you see the name Nicolas Cage?
Never. There's probably a good reason for that.
He should always be up there.
Oh my God.
He's daring and fearless in his choice of roles.
That's
and
true.
unafraid to crawl out on a limb.
He takes everything.
Definitely.
Okay.
No one else can project inner trembling so effectively. Recall the opening scenes in Leaving Las Vegas. See him in Scorsese's Bring Out the Dead, which he was in with Patricia Arquette after they got a divorce. Fun fact. Think of the title character in The Weatherman. Watch him melting down in Adaption. And then remember he can also do a parachuting Elvis impersonator, a wild rock and roller, or a lovesick one-handed baker. Interesting. He always seems so earnest, however improbable his character. He never winks at the audience, and he's been in some movies where he could have.
Where he could have, yes.
He is committed to the character with every atom and plays him as if he were him. He's not wrong there.
No.
His success in making Charlie Kaufman a neurotic mess and Donald Kaufman a carefree success story in the same movie comes largely from his gift. So it goes on, basically like that. I don't want to read this.
I mean, when
So
he puts it that way,
yeah,
it is kind of hard to argue. We've mentioned it before. He does Unhinged probably better than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's because it comes from a natural place.
Oh, yeah. We're not even through this list.
But he doesn't seem like he phones it in on a movie. I don't think I've ever seen a movie where I
No.
felt like, man, he really did not care about
even
this.
some weird
Even
movies.
some really bad movies.
I would say this quote was late 90s. Leaving Las Vegas came out in 1995, and it was shortly after that.
Yeah, okay.
But he went on to say he is really good in good movies, and he is indispensable in bad movies. I would agree with that.
Yeah, maybe he is amazing.
He's the best actor to ever live.
I think we might have just determined he is the greatest actor of all
man.
time.
He has been featured on 2 Forbes lists. The most generous celebrities
That's good.
and the most overpaid actors.
Okay.
So don't give him all this money, but he's nice with the money you give
We
him.
just determined he's the greatest actor of all time, and he's
Right.
ending up on a list at the same time as the most overpaid.
Yeah. So we talked about on our last episode of Nic Cage just all the charitable donations he gives.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, he's rolling in dough buying $30 million Gulfstream jets.
Yeah, he's probably donate some of those yachts.
Yeah, right? Oh, man.
The Boys and Girls Club of America really could use one of those yachts.
Oh, what a lifestyle. If we could go back in time, this is a tricky question. If we could go back in time and spend 24 hours with peak 2007 Nicolas Cage,
Yeah.
would you be interested?
Oh, yes.
There's a strong chance we're going to die.
I'm not sure what like a conversation with him is like, because it's not a normal conversation.
Absolutely not.
There is nothing normal you could talk about. Like, I'm pretty sure he probably doesn't even know what sports are, because he's not concerned with them.
He
doesn't
probably
pay
knows.
attention to them.
He probably knows some weird sport that they play in. Let me scroll back up in my notes. In the Lisu tribe in Southeast
Yes,
Asia.
yeah. He probably also listens to like weird music. You know, it's just like the most bizarre like clanging of pans.
I mean, he loves Purple Rain.
We at least know he
He's a
listens to
huge
Purple
Prince
Rain.
fan.
Yes.
We do know that.
So I wouldn't even know what it would be like, but absolutely. I just want to see this guy just buy things.
Yeah.
I'd pay money to just do that.
Right.
That'd be a good
Man.
experience.
Again, if anybody's out there, we know we have a large listenership in California. We've talked about it before. It's ever growing. I'm pretty sure Nicolas... Well, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say I'm pretty sure Nicolas Cage lives in
We don't
California.
know.
He could live anywhere.
He could be he's got houses in every
He
state.
could live here.
He could be in his island. I would like to get to meet him though, so we should probably figure out if we can make that happen.
Yeah, if he does happen to be in California, and you know how we can spend a day with Nicolas Cage, please let us know.
Yeah.
Real Movie Talk Pod on Facebook. Please let us know. Direct message us. Find us. I'll give you Aaron's home address.
Yeah.
Find
Come right over, Nick.
and let us know. So I'm going to ask you a question that was on our episode. So it's not a new question.
Okay.
It was my favorite question of our episode. An intruder once broke into Cage's Orange County home at 2 a.m. What was this intruder eating?
It was an ice cream sandwich, right? Or creamsicle?
Your options were a Wendy's hamburger,
Uh-huh.
a fudgesicle, a tuna packet, or a roasted lamb sandwich with arugula.
Yeah, it was the fudgicle, right?
Fudgesicle. So what that question didn't say that we talked about after that was that this man was nude.
Yes, completely nude.
There has been an update.
Whoa.
He was not completely nude. He was wearing one of Nicolas Cage's leather jackets that he took out of Nicolas Cage's closet.
My gosh.
Waist down, completely naked. From the waist up, open jacket.
Yeah.
But you also know that it's your jacket when you look at it. So this man was naked when he came into your house, but then he found your leather jacket.
How did Nic Cage not wake up to any of this?
Right?
I feel like you're going to wake up to somebody walking around your room trying on your jacket.
So this is funny. This will make it a little more disturbing. Nicolas Cage's wife at the time was home, and their 2-year-old was also home in another room.
Holy cow.
So that's not great, but
They could have all died.
they could have all died.
Yeah.
This is insane. So he wasn't fully naked. He was wearing a leather jacket that he took out of Nicolas Cage's closet. So you asked me, was he arrested? Was he ever caught? The naked man was arrested, but Nicolas Cage did not press charges. He simply sold the house and moved.
I love that he's placed with these options.
Yeah.
Hey, would you like to press charges? No, I would like to sell my house and not live there anymore.
Yeah. From what I understand, he sold it for a whopping, unheard of, $34 million.
Golly.
Yes. He probably paid more for it, though, let's be honest.
Yeah, that was a discount.
Yeah. When asked if the man tried to steal anything, so new favorite thing, it's still about the naked fudgesicle man. I don't know what to call him. But when asked if the man tried to steal anything, Cage said, "He stole my fudgesicle." So he also did not enter the house with a fudgesicle, but he left the house with a fudgesicle.
I do love thinking of Nic Cage just really bent out of shape over that.
That's why I sold the house.
Fudgesicle,
He
yeah.
stole my friggin' fudgesicle. So Nic Cage said he woke up in a panic because his wife and child were there, used verbal judo to get the man into the bathroom and then out of the house until the cops could get there.
So he put him into the bathroom to get out of the house?
So he put him in the bathroom first.
And then so they could run?
Yes, get them out, and then he could get them out of the house. But his version, or what he called verbal judo, he goes into a little detail and says that was using a loud voice and being very aggressive.
Yes, okay. So that's what I assumed.
If someone broke into my house,
screaming at someone.
I would use verbal judo.
Because you're awoken from a deep slumber to this.
Just
I think everybody's using verbal judo at that point.
Just a dangle and a fudgesicle.
You know, I think everybody's using that.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Beyond this, Nicolas Cage had a stalker. Did you know about the Nicolas Cage stalker?
Doesn't surprise me. But no, I did not.
His stalker happened to be a mime. When asked about this, the mime had no comment, but is currently locked away in an invisible box.
So, wait. Hold on. So his stalker can't even be a normal stalker.
Exactly.
It can't even just be a crazy person.
It has to be a Nic Cage stalker.
It's a mime.
It's a mime. Face painted, black and white shirt, all out mime, probably a French beret.
You know what Nic Cage is probably like super good at? He's probably super good at that two truths and a lie game.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean,
he's probably not that good at it because he can't come up with a lie. Everything is true.
But you would just not know how to like interpret anything because you'd be like, no, you didn't have a stalker that was a mime. That's insane.
But it's
no,
true.
It's true. It's all
man.
true.
He should come on this show and play two truths and a lie with us because even though we've done 2 full episodes, there's still so much crap that we don't even know about.
Oh, you know there's more.
How do you find yourself screaming Purple Rain day drunk in a karaoke bar?
Do you just
after your 4-day marriage?
My goodness, this is awesome.
Oh, man.
A mime.
All right, so the last thing I have for you about Nicolas Cage today, we may do another episode on Nic Cage.
It's incoming all the time.
Get in the cage. He turned down the role of Ronald Reagan in a movie because he thought it would hurt his career. I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute.
This is the guy that did a Left Behind movie, right?
Yeah.
This is the guy that yelled, "Not the bees," in Wicker Man.
Yeah.
And Ronald Reagan would hurt his career.
Yeah.
I don't know who was going to cast him though. That's the kind of weird part. I can't do the mental jujitsu I need to do to make that happen. Like, how does that work out?
Heavy makeup? I don't know.
I just don't like Daniel Day-Lewis's Lincoln.
Yeah.
That made sense.
Yeah.
And he's that type of actor. I can't see the Ronald Reagan one here in Nic Cage. That's just weird. But he is the greatest actor of all time, so there's
He can
probably a
pull it off.
possibility.
Yeah.
He could have pulled it off. Yeah. Well, at least he saved his career.
He saved his career by not playing Ronald Reagan. He said he was worried that the movie portrayed Reagan in too positive of a light. So, not a Reagan fan. We can.
And they just didn't have anybody else to make this movie?
I guess not.
They were like, it's Nic Cage or no one.
Nic Cage or I'll walk.
Yeah. And then the movie never happened.
Can you imagine a world where Nic Cage was Superman? We talk about this all the time. I'm going to end on that note with the Nic Cage information. If you still have yet to Google that image, you're wasting your life.
So good. The suit is just insane. And the mullet that he's rocking is just so good.
It's so good. Have you ever seen Coming to America?
Yeah.
You know, the whatever it's Soul Glow or Soul Shine or whatever. It looks like he has that in his hair.
Yes, it does.
It glows.
And it's so great.
It's radiant.
Because I don't think you see him with that haircut anywhere else.
No.
It's just him trying on a Superman suit.
And it's not a wig.
No, it's
You
his
wouldn't
hair.
use a wig for a screen test. Nic Cage has officially, as of now, hit 100 movies as an actor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And he's only in his 50s?
Yeah.
Good for you, Nick.
Right? And he didn't start acting until close to 20.
Yeah.
So that's 30 years, 100 movies.
That's so many movies in a short period of time.
How many movies does he currently have in production and or scheduled?
I mean, at the pace that he's going, who knows? But
So how many movies does he have that it's coming out within the next 2
he's
years?
in financial distress, so he's got to be making
He's
some.
climbing back up.
He's got to be making some. And so this explains then why he probably doesn't really have a home because he just goes on to the next movie.
Yeah, they always have a trailer for him. Why would he bother?
So he doesn't need to go to all his haunted houses. He just has a trailer that he lives in as he's doing movies. It's crazy.
Can you imagine? You know how they have those, like, I think History Channel has one and probably True TV, but they have those, like, ghost hunter shows where they go into people's houses and they spend the night.
Yeah, yeah.
And they always just hear, like, creaks and stuff.
I know.
Can you imagine a Nic Cage?
Oh, it'd be so good if they had him on there too.
Yeah.
So
like,
he just stayed up
is the
all
ghost
night
hunter.
with them. Yeah, that would be really, really good.
That would be the first ever recorded, like, footage of a specter. Like, they would come to meet Nic Cage.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt about it.
No.
Man, why are we not making shows about Nic Cage?
Right,
ghost
Nic
hunting?
Cage, reach out to us. We have so many
We
ideas.
have really good ideas.
We just want to talk to you, first of all.
have
We'll bounce
really,
ideas
really
off
good
of each
ideas.
other. I don't like snakes, so I'm not going to meet you in your Cobra tank.
No.
I'm sorry.
No
We can
interest in
work
that.
something out. But do you have a shot in the dark of how many?
My shot in the dark is I'm going to go a little bit more on the extreme side here. I'm going to say 13.
Okay. Extreme side. All right.
I like how you say extreme side because it's in the 20s probably.
All right. Well, we'll find out next week how many movies Nic Cage is currently working on all at one time. Oh, hey. Current Chaz again. Just wanted to let you know, Real Movie Talk had a segment where we did trivia, where I'd pose a question one week and give Aaron the answer the next week. That's what's happening here in this episode. There is no next week because this is a re-release. So I'm going to go ahead and scooch in the answer right here. All right, thanks. Trivia time. Last week, how many movies does Nic Cage have in the can or in production?
What I said like 13.
Yes, you were not far off.
No, because the actual number is 10.
10.
Which is still an absurd number.
Yeah. He has 100 credits for 37 years in the business, so that's 3 movies a year, roughly.
3 movies a year. The man doesn't take a break.
Only person I think he's beat by is Samuel L. Jackson, who averages like 4.8 movies a year.
Which is crazy.
Well, credits a year. I won't say movies because it's TV shows, all that stuff. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, whatever you need to do. You know the deal. If you're listening to this, this can't be the only podcast you listen to. But do more for us than you do for your other podcasts. We need it more.
We are desperate for attention.
Aaron doesn't eat unless we get a subscribe.
I haven't eaten in
he's very thin.
2 hours. So help me out. Please subscribe.
And other than that, your task for this week is obviously to just go binge Nicolas Cage movies.
Yes. He's the greatest actor of all time. We have determined this today.
Go full Cage.
Yes.
Pull an Abed. Go full Cage. You'll like it. It'll be a wild ride.
It will be.
You'll
There's
wake
no
up.
doubt.
You'll wake up. Own so much more stuff.
Yeah.
Just don't answer the phone. You'll be fine.
Wow.
You'll probably have a couple divorces. But you don't,
In that process, yeah.
don't even remember getting married. It'll be a blast. So go full Cage. All right. We'll see you next time.
See you.